To me, one of the most important things and the first step in changing lives is to have a program for yourself. When I started on this path, that was what my goal was to change me, given my circumstances. I think that, psychologists say that we create a mental blueprint between the ages of 1 and 5, that between that time, we determine what's available for us and what's not available for us. And so, given my circumstances, being born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, I became interested in a path of developing myself. I remember shining the shoes of Mr. Sidursky, this man that my mother worked for, very wealthy on Miami Beach. She cleaned his home and she cooked for the family and kept the children. And he listened to motivational messages unbeknownst to me. That was programming my mind, and it created a thirst within me to get on this path. I remember listening to Earl Nightingale, who said, "You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are." And so to me, reading became an out. It became a tool that I used to develop myself, and not just reading for enjoyment, but reading for personal growth, reading to look at those things that I read and to apply them in my lives. I would read sometimes at night from 60 or 100 pages a night, sometimes a whole book. And then I would underline the book and I would think about them, I would memorize them, and then I would apply them. I would try them out. Because one of the things he said, they did a study of some top achievers and leaders around the world, over 3,000, to find out what was the common denominator among them that enabled them to reach their goals. And here's what they did, that 85% of them reached their goals because of their attitude, 15% because of their aptitude. Now, to me, that was big, because I was in special education. I was labeled educable mentally retarded. So I said, whoa, that means I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. That if I have a winner's attitude, that I've got a shot, that I could make it, that I don't have to live a life of being average. I wanted to live a life of meaning, of purpose. Being adopted, I wanted to do something for my mother. And so by listening to motivational messages and reading on a regular basis, it really taught me the value of using your time to work on yourself, to develop yourself, to really restructure your belief system for what was possible for you. It really expanded my vision of myself. And so to me, that's what it means about mass appeal, because I was working on myself. Then I started sharing it with others, and I noticed a difference in them. And I shared with them the things that I was doing because they saw the difference in me. And it's been said that a career is something you love so much you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. So as I talked with and shared with my friends what I was doing and what was possible for them, I eventually evolved into this life of where I am. And as a result, I carved out a market for myself. And because this is my passion, this is what I've spent the majority of my life doing, I've developed a level of expertise, a level of strength and power and reputation in this area that created a demand for myself.
You have something special. You have greatness in you. I want you to like this page and share it. I got a message for you. There's something that's been on my mind I want to share with you on this beautiful, beautiful day. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I want you to think about the fact that this is the fourth quarter. And I want you to think about finishing strong and preparing for 2023. And something that I'm encouraging you to do, and I want you to like this page and share it. I want you to ask yourself some questions, and just about three. One of them, where you are right now, is it what you anticipated when you started the year off? Is it in alignment with your resolutions? Because if you follow what I'm going to share with you, if you are willing to give up who you've been, the negative people, the thoughts, and the choices that's produced what you now have, if it does not measure up to your level of expectation, and you know, As Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome. If you want to create a different outcome, you got to do some things differently. You got to change some relationships. You got to do what Celeste Johnson say, Operation Clean Slate. You got to get some people out of your life. You got to come out from among the people where you are. You know, people who earn 15, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, $100,000 a month don't hang out with people who earn $5,000 and $7,000 a month. No, you got to upgrade your relationships. One of the things when I began to understand the statement, come out from among them, I left Miami in a Greyhound bus. I had too many poor people in my life. Okay, family members and friends. I had to get out of there. Why? God said to Abraham, get up and go to a new land. Sometimes you've got to change where you are. A place, you got a place that is your place. Trust me on this. The things that I've accomplished, I would have never accomplished those things in Miami. I had to go to some other place. You have a divine place. And there are certain relationships you'll never, ever do anything with those people. Why? Because they're not the one. Where you are is your rightful place, where your thoughts, your thinking, and your choices have brought you. Where you can be is your true place. Come on, somebody. I'm coming. Just slow down. Just slow down. I'm coming. I'm coming. Yeah. I mean, think about it. It's this fourth quarter. And so you want to look at your life and say, wait a minute, what got me here? Because you don't want to get to the end of 2022 and say, oh my God, I didn't do all the things that I was capable of doing. No, evaluate. Because there are certain places, there are certain choices, there's certain behaviors, there's certain people that you just don't need to be a part of your life. Let me give you an example in my own life. Like, for instance, I got up this morning and I take the medication that they had placed me on. Notice I didn't say my medication. I'm not claiming it. The medication they put me on. My goal before the end of the year is to be off all medication. What major goal do you have before the end of the year so that you can look back and say that 2022 brought out the best in you? I'm not asking you to have 4 and 5 different things that you're focused on. I'm just saying to you and just requesting what major area of your life in mind. I'm focusing on my health, mine making cancer history, mine getting off all this medication. I've been able to get off my insulin. Why? Because I'm focused. I want you to put down focus. Focus on one thing that's important to you. One thing that will make a dramatic difference in your life. One thing that when you accomplish that, you can pat yourself on the shoulder and say, I've done good. Because at the end of the day, life is about choices. Choose ye this day whom ye shall serve. But most of us, and I'm using myself as an example, for a long time, I was just coasting toward an accelerated end. I just decided I'm going to be mindful. I don't want to take medication for the rest of my life. I don't want to be sticking myself for the rest of my life. Then what are you going to do about it? I dramatically began to focus and tune everything else out, saying my health is my wealth. That sounds nice, rhymes, nice. And I'm backing it up with action. I'm mindful of what I eat. I'm mindful of my state of mind. I'm mindful of my peace. What is it you're going to do? What differently? How you're going to show up? We're in the fourth quarter. And I want you to write this down. It's time to close chapters and turn the page. Come on, somebody. Yes, it's time. There's some chapters you need to close. They've gone beyond their expiration date. Some people come in your life for a season, some for a reason, and some for a lifetime. And when I made a list of the people that I communicate with, there's some calls I don't take anymore. Why? Because it's a gimme call. Yeah. That if you look at it, the majority of your calls are gimme calls. There's a limited number of people saying, hey, I got something for you. Just look at the ratio. Look at it. Evaluate it. There are people who are always there when they need you. Life ain't playing with us, and we don't need to be playing with life. Come on, I'm telling you, I'm not making this stuff up. Life is for laughing, loving, and living. It doesn't have to be all that complicated. I'm telling you, this is the time you don't want people who get on your last nerve and stress you out being around you or in your ear. Come out from among them. And don't try to change them. A person changed against their will is of the same opinion still, that they are okay just as they are. You have no right to weigh in on how they live their lives. I don't care if it's your children or your family members, friends. No, people got a choice. That's what God has given us all, a choice. And their choices, a friend of mine, Patricia Wingard out of Columbus, Ohio, the choices and consequences. Listen to me. Listen to the old rascal. Yes, I've been on the planet for 77 years. I know some stuff. Now listen, I'm looking for some people. I'm looking for the few. This is not for everybody. I'm just looking for the few. You know what I decided to do? What did you decide to do? I'm going to build a culture of greatness. People who have goals and dreams, people who want to do something dramatically different with their lives, who want to finish the year strong, people who want to get a jump start on 2023, people who have things that they want to accomplish to improve their health, improve their relationships, get a game plan and a blueprint on how they can begin to bring out the greatness in them. If that's you, touch the link above. That's all. It's not for everybody. It's because, see, and here's something that we must learn to do, and it's not easy. Learn how to become an observer. I've learned how, and it took some time because they call me an empath. Most people, ladies and gentlemen, won't participate in their own rescue. I have a friend, I did some videos on people who've made dramatic changes in their lives and who had lost a lot of weight, and they had instructions on how they did it. So I said this to a friend of mine, weigh over 400 pounds. You know, though she asked me, are you calling me fat? I said, no. I didn't call you nothing. I just sent you some stuff that I thought maybe that you might be interested in. No, I did not call you fat. And I'm saying to myself, did this person ask me that question? This person who came to my house and sat in the chair, broke and said, oh, hell no. The chair broke. The chair said, what the hell's going on here? I'm sorry. You can't make this stuff up. Okay, you can't make Anywho, I'm sorry. I'm having a hot flash. I call it my power surge. So if you like to have fun, If you want to learn how I earned my first million against all odds, you ever hear politicians talk about the middle class? They never talk about the 1%. They don't want you to become the 1%. I'm a part of the population who's earned over $1,000,000. That's just 1% of the population who's done that. I've done that. You come into the community, if you give me 1 year with you, see, your network, and George Frazier said this best, your network determines your net worth. Did you hear what I just said? Your network determines your net worth. And when you're in a community with me, with like-minded people, people that are focused on their dreams and improving themselves, people who are tuning out the negative, toxic behavior and people that will compromise your power. We have energy. All of us, not energy. If you don't use it well, it will work against you. If you use it well, it will help you to take responsibility for your life and create the kind of life that you're proud of. I'm telling you what I know. And if that's you, come on, join me. Can we see the comments? You can put that down now. You see comments? Have them ask me some questions about something. So if you got a story, and you want to be a part of the community, because we're going to share with you strategies on how to tell your story, how to monetize your story, how I got from zero to hero. I love these little things that rhyme. They are so cute. Whatever. If you want to learn techniques and strategies and how you can become more influential and impactful in your style of communication, if you want to learn how to talk to the world, I can teach you how to do that. I've been around the world, and all I had going for me was my story. And if you're ready to do something with your story, make a difference, push humanity forward, a story that can help people understand that where they are does not have to become their destiny, push the link and join my community, the Les Brown Greatness Community. Yes, it's going to dramatically change your income, change the quality of your life. You're going to upgrade your relationships, and you're going to let some relationships go. Why? Life is like an elevator. The higher you go up, you have to stop and let some people off because they don't want what you want. They don't dream like you dream. I remember in Chicago, I used to give this lecture at Christ Universal Temple Church, and I saw this guy come, and his wife was seated on one side, and he was on the other. And I asked him, I said, man, I said, why aren't you over there with your wife? He said, well, she left me because she said, I don't want anything. I said, I'm sorry to hear that. And as I was approaching her, she said, I heard what he said. She said, I didn't leave him because he didn't want anything. I left him because he wasn't willing to do the things necessary to grow so we can create a different kind of life than what we had. He'd settled for where we are. And I know we can do better. He's smart, he's intelligent, but he doesn't have hunger. He doesn't have drive. He doesn't have perseverance. He doesn't want any more than what we now have. And I don't want to settle for that. I know we can do better than this. And I'm tired of arguing. Have you ever just got tired of arguing with someone that's supposed to be leading you, and they're in the back doing nothing but the same thing over and over and over again? Have you ever looked at where you are and just said, this is not me? That's what I did in Miami, in Liberty City, Overtown. I just said, look, Good Bread Alley and Bucket the Blood, the expressway goes through that now. That's gone. I just said, there's got to be more. Let me see some signs. Let me see some fire. Have you ever said there's got to be more? I remember cleaning homes and cleaning apartments on Miami Beach. And I just said, one day I'm going to be able to stay here, not just come over here to clean up. Woo! And I've stayed in several places, several condos, hotels, and whatsoever you can think of. See, life is about having the courage to make your life a daring adventure. Live before you die. Life ain't playing with us. Decide that you're going to take life on. Stormy, I like to refer to her as Dr. Stormy Wellington. She had an event this past weekend for women. Girl, hold my hand. And it was an eye opener. It was one that caused the women there to dream a bigger dream. Most people don't have any dreams at all. They're just working to survive. What it takes to live and what it is required for surviving are two different things. These are people who said, you know, I'm taking a chance on me. I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, but I'm going to walk by faith and not by sight. I'm reaching for the greater in me. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. I'm willing to upgrade my relationships. I'm willing to step away from the life that I've been living so that I can begin to create the life that I deserve. Have you ever seen people and you ask yourself the question, how can they live like that? Here's what I learned. When you stay in a toxic, negative environment over a long period of time, you have to ask yourself the question, what kind of person have I become because of this? Because that abnormal environment will become your new normal. You stay there long enough, you won't even realize at some point in your life you'd have found that repulsive. I had an apartment that I had near the airport, and I rented it from a friend of mine, Jackie Collier. And I said, girl, I can't stay here. Listen to these airplanes coming over constantly. She said, you stay here long enough, I guarantee you won't hear it. She did not lie. And people who would come visit me said, how can you stay here? And these airplanes flying constantly, don't you hear it? And I said, no. Because I'd been there so long, I had tuned it out. You can be in an abusive relationship so long that it becomes your new normal. You can be in a situation and an environment that's beneath you, and you be there so long that it becomes you. It's one thing to be in something, it's something else when that something gets in you. The only people that can hear me are the people who said, in their heart of hearts, and where your heart is, there your treasures also. I can do better than this. If that's you, if you're on fire to go to another level, push the link on above. You just give me 1 year with your life, and I guarantee you, you'll never be the same again. No, I owe it to you. I owe it to you. I know, I don't know how much time I have left, but I know God did not have me to be born and preserved for such a time as this, just to go to my grave and take everything I've learned with me. He who has ear, let him hear, let her hear. I'm just speaking to the few. Did you hear me? I am speaking to the few.
How does one accelerate learning? And so for years I would share with my service business clients early on, when I went from dead broke carpet cleaner to learning how to make that business work, then taking, wow, I figured out a bunch of things that work, and now how do I share them with other people? And I'm definitely afraid of speaking, so I don't want to go speak, and then I would force myself to be in situations where I had to present, although I was a nervous wreck. And then I started going to Toastmasters, and that was incredibly beneficial. And then it dawned on me wow, I'm learning this stuff so much quicker because I'm now putting myself in a position to have to teach other people. So I would then, later share 3 ways to learn something. You learn through the School of Hard Knocks. You just don't ask for directions. Before GPS, there was that whole stereotype of men never ask for directions sort of thing. You just bumble your way through life. You figure it out. You'll learn stuff, but you're going to fail a lot. It's going to be painful. So that's one way to learn. Second way to learn is you learn through the experiences of other people. You read their books, go to their seminars, buy their courses, learn, get educated. Not education in school, but education out of school, right? The real life education. And that's a more effective way to learn. That's why I read a lot of books. That's why I've gone to a lot of seminars. That's why I've hired a lot of people. So then the third way to learn, which is the most accelerated, fastest way, is you start teaching other people, because then you have to integrate it at a whole nother level. So
I would challenge that.
well, yeah, I want to hear your perspective on this.
Yeah. When I graduated from high school, I had a friend of mine, Larry Littles. He went to Bethune-Cookman College. We graduated together. They traded him to, he went to San Diego Chargers. He was an offensive guard. He was so ineffective there, they traded him for like $2 or $3.
He must
had
have
a
been really
coach,
ineffective.
very ineffective.
Yeah.
But he went to the Miami Dolphins, Don Shula, a coach. Larry became all-star offensive guard 12 years in a row, inducted into the Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame. Very seldom that offensive guards are inducted into the Hall of Fame. What was the difference? The coach. Yeah, what the coach was able to find and bring out of him. When I met Mr. Leroy Washington, when I was in his class, when I was put back, when I fell in the 8th grade, and I was looking for a friend, and you know the story, MacArthur Stevens, and Mr. Washington, who's a speech and drama teacher, and I admired his oratorical skills and how he trained students and my classmates. And he said, young man, he's going to do a play called 12 Angry Men. And so he said, I want you to go out up to the front, and I want you to work this problem out for me. We're looking for something. And I said, sir, I can't do that. I'm just here looking for MacArthur Stevens. He said, I want you to do what I ask you to do anyhow. I said, sir, I'm not one of your students. I'm just looking for my friend. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley's smart. He's DT. And they started laughing. And he asked, what's DT? And they said, he's educable mentally retarded. He's in special education. And he looked at me, and I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk. He looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Do you hear me? And I said, yes, sir. He disrupted the story that I believed about myself. And as a result of him, he told me 3 things that served me today that I mentioned earlier. He said, you want to make it in life, don't you? I said, yes, sir. He said, number 1, develop your mind. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. He said, I want you to listen to this. He gave me Earl Nightingale, the strangest secret in the world.
Wow.
He says, number 2, practice the principle of OQP, only quality people. The award-winning, Academy Award winner, Sidney Poitier, he wrote a book called The Measure of a Man. He said, when you go for a walk with someone, something happens without being spoken. Either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? We're earned within $2,000 to $3,000 of our closest friends. When I found that out, I got all my broke friends out of my life. I said, y'all gotta go. Don't go away mad, but y'all gotta go. And the other thing he said, Mr. Brown, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are.
Yeah.
And where's James? James, yeah. Questions of what he said was very important. I did a presentation for a major pharmaceutical company, and when I was getting ready to leave, I saw a sign that said danger zone, and all of these people lined up to go into this room, do a presentation. And I came in and I was curious to find out what was going on. And so there were doctors in the room. I was the only one that was not a doctor except people in the hotel. And so, and this conference was teaching doctors how to communicate with their patients to encourage them to take their hypertension medication. And if they don't, they will have a stroke, or they can suffer an aneurysm, or heart disease. And so I was seated next to the CEO. And he came in late. I said, excuse me, sir. I said, "You're the CEO?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you have hypertension?" He said, "Yes," and I touched him slightly on his leg. Doctors who touch their patients reduce their chances of having a malpractice suit filed against them by 37%. I said, "You have hypertension?" He said, "Yes." I asked him, "Why do you take your medication?" He said, "I want to live." Then why do you have a fear-based campaign? Why not have it the success zone, appeal to people's desire to want to live? He said, "You got a point." He said, "Can you train doctors?" I said, "Yes." They had all these doctors there. I'm the only one not a doctor, right? The only raisin in a glass of buttermilk. I'm turning red, but y'all can't see it anyhow. He said, "You got a contract. You'll never believe what that contract was for. Training 3,500 doctors, you'll never guess. Anybody? Wild guess. 1 month. How much money I got paid? No, it was small. I just trained them, went to different cities and trained them. But that's good. I like it. James, you are a prophet. All right? Thank you, though. $640,000. A lot. Because I asked the right question. I didn't try and sell myself on it. Everybody, you've heard the expression, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink, right? What we do as coaches and as speakers, we create the want. If you know how to effectively communicate and ask the right questions, then they will want to do business with you. Because our goal and objective, when you look at Joe Polish and his whole staff, they're not here to sell you, they're here to serve you. And that's why you show up. The greatest among you will be your servant. So when you ask the right questions, something Zig Ziglar talked about, and you in your book addresses this. He said, if you give enough people what they want, they'll give you what you want. Maya Angelou said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so when you care enough to ask people questions, so as I train speakers, I said, never let what you want to say get in the way of what your customer wants to hear. And all that get understanding, find out who are they? What's going on with them? What challenges are they facing? What's keeping them up at night? What have they done before that did not work, as you talked in those strategic questions? And so I sent out a needs assessment. And when I spoke for Merrill Lynch and talked about these two guys who got together in 1905, one was a businessman, the other one was a visionary. As a result of my doing research, people seated in the audience thought that was just one name. Mm-hmm. And I got another 22 engagements out of that. And so you're asking key questions, but becoming knowledgeable and finding out things about your client and incorporating those things in your presentation. I spoke for a guy named Brian Buffini. Anybody ever heard of him? He sells real estate. So when I go in to speak, I sent a needs assessment, Brian filled out. So I wanted to find out where he was and what he wanted, because he's a man that signs the check, okay? Then I talked to his top performers and I extracted stories out of them. And so when I got up and was giving my speech, every point that I was going to make in my speech, I created a framework how to train people to do this. I would use their story as an example. So I said, I was talking to James, and he's been with the company for years, and he said that this place he loves because it helps him to begin to learn more about the customers, that life is a question and how we live our lives is the answer. And so James said he loves being here because it's a family consciousness. And when I talked to Veronica talked about the day that she was thinking about how she was going through a tough time when a family member died, but everybody got together and it gave her the strength to weather that Red Sea, to weather that storm. And when I got to the end of my speech, when I was getting a standing ovation, I said, I'm so glad to be able to see you. And I started walking off, and I said, oh, by the way, I'm not too busy for referrals. That's his theme. We're never too busy for referrals. I got 56 speaking engagements.
Wow. Wow.
And,
10-minute talk.
yeah. But that's not, but that, guess what, James? He said, wait a minute, Mr. Brown. He said, this is November. He said, whatever number of engagements that you have for the rest of the year, I want them. I'll write the check for them. And at that time, I was charging $35,000 an hour. But he paid for every speaking engagement for the rest of the year because I did research on him. I interviewed the top performers. What is it about you that's different than the rest of the people here? I found out his mission statement. I found out how he met his wife. I said, you know, Brian, one of the things I know about you, when you met your wife, Martha, you became very spiritual and said, the Lord is my shepherd, I see what I want. So complimenting his wife, I did research on him and his people, and the people that came in the room that I interviewed them individually and used their story, they're saying, oh my God, when I would use their story, they start hunching, he's talking about me, you know. And all of those things, you put those elements in, it's different than just going out doing an information dump. If information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. They can Google information. They bring us in, you ask the right questions, you can create an experience. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. And when we look at what this experience that we're going through right now, it's giving us a larger vision of ourselves and allowing us to navigate all the things that we're facing right now.
I want to talk to you about how to begin to create the major shift in your life and who you have to be and what you have to do. And so in doing that, when I start moving, hey, oh, how you doing, Dallas? Yeah, the light was in my eyes, I couldn't see you, yeah. So as you look at yourself, look at your goals and dreams, what's going to be major right now is bringing about what are the steps you need to take? What is it that you need to do to bring about building a new life? I thought about building a new life for myself when I was fired from radio, because that's what I knew. I mastered that when I did it. I'm not saying it because I'm being braggadocious, but people who heard me in Columbus, Ohio, during the time that I was on the air, they'll tell you, Mamie Brown's baby boy, he's a bad brother up in there. Nobody did it like I did it before me or since me. Nobody, period, all right? It's not true because I said it, but I said it because it's true. And so what we have to begin to embrace and to know is something that Socrates said. He said, the secret to change is to focus all your energy, all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but building the new you. Put all your energy, not fighting the old, but building the new you. So let's look at building the new you look like. What is it that you have to do in order to do that? Number one, self-awareness. Taking time to rethink your life. I've been up since around 3:30 this morning, just thinking about my life and my relationship with myself and the choices that I want and the things that I had envisioned that I would have accomplished in 2020, and I did not do that. And it was because of me. See, at the end of the day, all of us are the same. The only thing that separates us are the choices we make, the habits that we embrace. And I realized, and I want you to write this down, sacrifice. You've got to sacrifice who you've been in 2020. You got to sacrifice whoever that person was. You got to let it go. You got to sacrifice that and put all of your time and energy on building the new you. And building the new you, in my particular case, is more
discipline, in my particular case, in monitoring myself and my progress, staying on top of it, watching, am I doing well? Am I moving and in the direction where I want to move? Because if I do that, cancer would be history in my life. History. I'm not comfortable with having cancer on the ropes for 29 years, 4th stage cancer. No. My goal is to knock it out. And that's on me. Cancer's not playing, I'm not playing. And so to focus my mind on that, to give up the things that will distract me from doing that, to make the sacrifice of some things that I enjoy doing, but I can't afford to do it because it's soaking up time, and time is life. Time is life. You have something special. You have greatness in you. And you have the ability to create and design the kind of life that you want. And in this place where we are right now, things have changed dramatically. And so you have to make a dramatic change in yourself in order to accomplish the things that you want. What does that look like? What is it you have to do? In my case, mine and my battle has been with cancer, 4th stage. That looks like intensifying my efforts and monitoring everything that I eat. It has to be organic. But my state of mind, keeping stress to a minimum. I don't play that. Anything that's unhealthy, anybody that's unhealthy for me, I cut off the relationship. I don't ask them, why did you do that? I cut it off. Why? It's my life. See, we got enough to deal with. When you got the coronavirus that has now mutated into another lethal form and easier to spread, that kind of tension and stress by itself is enough. So you're not given the luxury of accommodating toxic, negative people in your life if you want to live. I want to live. I remember years ago, I've read this book called Who's the Matter with Me? You've had people say, you make me sick. That's real. There are people who can do that to you if you allow them to do that. And you have to put your foot down and say, I don't do drama. Don't come up here with that. I don't do drama. And you don't have to defend that. See, there is no duplicate for life. You only get one. And so you want to live it to the fullest. You want to have special moments. You want to have peace of mind. 47% of Americans can't get a good night's sleep. And I've been one of them. Bobby, you have to work at it. Here's something else. Make a conscious effort to look at and recruit people in your life that you know that have been good to you, that you need to deepen that relationship, that they bring out the best in you, they inspire you, they make you feel good about yourself, y'all have fun together. You want to reach out to those people and schedule some time to see each other virtually each week, where you have individual and collective goals that you're working on. I'm doing that with my family and with my clients. I'm working with them. And that's why I would like to say to those of you that would like for me to coach you and like to be in a community of greatness, I want you to put hungry in the comments section. If you like to work with me, if you like for me to be your coach and this first 90 days, teach you some of the things I've learned. I'm 75, and so I've learned some things. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. Let me share something with you.
When you upgrade your relationships, when you make it a point to consciously get toxic, negative, energy draining people, people have a propensity for creating drama out of your life. Sometimes you don't even realize how toxic some relationships are until you get out from under them. And I'm sure you've had the experience when somebody who created a whole lot of problems for you and something happened, and when it ended, you say, whoa, I had no idea. A friend of mine, her husband died. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. She said, oh, no, don't be. What? No, I'm glad he go, honey. I'm glad he go. Don't be sad for me. Don't be sad for my loss. So that was real good. God, well, look at God. He answered prayers. I was shocked. And so, and another friend, I saw the plane, and she had gone through a divorce. I said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. She said, don't be. No. I have peace of mind, honey. It's better to be alone than to wish you were. I've heard you say that. And that's real. That relationship was turning my hair gray. I gained an extra 65 pounds. No. I'm good. I'm fine. All by myself. I mean, this thing called life, you know, Corona, she has everybody rethinking stuff up in here. Rethinking. People looking at each other and saying, I don't know if I want to do this for another 20 years. You looking too healthy. Yeah. You know, I thought I could hang in there, but no. He taking too many vitamins and things. It looked like he wanted to live. No. Here's the other thing. Do something that's you. When I look at my life, and I really want you to look at this and think about this when I'm through. Do something that the future you will say, thank you for making that decision. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking your life in a new direction. That's what you want your future self to say. Because in my case, I decided I was going to do something I love. My calling is to speak. My calling is to train speakers. My calling is to change lives. I decided consciously I was going to find a way to do it. One, I invested in myself. This will not be a new year unless you learn something this year that will have a dramatic impact on your life that you did not know last year, that will allow you to take care of yourself, that allow you to control your own personal economy, that allow you to call your own shots, that allow you to have peace of mind. Most people, they're through with the celebration. They forgot what their New Year's resolutions were. No. You listen to me for 90 days, mental resolve is major now. People having meltdowns, snapping, blinking out. Mental resolve is major now. It's a series that I've done on how you can choose the future that you want rather than the future that's already set in place and that's delivered to you and you just step into. You don't want to do that. No, you're only given one life. You want to create. We're created by the Creator to create. And sometimes we just go to sleep at the wheel of life. You don't want to do that. You want to wake up. And every move you make, you want to make it meaningful. Every move you make, you want to mean something. Everything you do, you want some payoff out of it. You went through too much in 2020 not to make 2021 the best year on the planet. You went through too much to get here. Let me tell you. I mean, that Corona, She ain't playing, but we're not playing either. In order to create the life you want, it requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires expanding the time that you spend with yourself, looking at yourself and asking yourself the question, is this the life that I want to live? Is this me? Is this relationship me? Where I'm living, is this environment me? The job that I'm doing to provide for myself or my family, is that me? Do I have some other options? Absolutely. Then do that which is you. Don't be a member of the woulda, shoulda, coulda club. No, or I would if. I should if. Come on. No, that doesn't work. No. Only put off for tomorrow the things that you're okay with dying in you today. You have something special. And you are here. We are here because of God's grace and mercy. We are here to do the greater work. And feel good about that. Feel good if you're still reeling from 2020. I know I'm still reeling from it. I'm saying, whew, it couldn't end fast enough for me. I'm telling you. And so this time, as you look behind and thank God that you made it, look around and praise God. See the new opportunities, doors open that you did not see. And look within. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Go within and seek God and look ahead and follow God. Let him order your steps, because this is your time. You've gone through too much hell for 2021 not to be your time. Get it done in 21. You got to come at it with a vengeance. Take no prisoners and eat the wounded. Get it done in 21. Oh no, Corona, don't try and come up here. I don't care how many cousins you got and how many mutations you got up in here, up in here. I'm not no fool. I'm gonna keep social distancing. I'm gonna do the things that I need to do to live, to be here and stay away from those crazies, but I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna do some things that I dreamed about and things I've been putting off and make it happen. Find a way. People are being creative now, unlike anything we've seen before. Because when you are locked down, you can't move around. You come up with all kind of stuff. I'm just reading where a guy was he was in confinement, in prison, in solitary confinement. And he used that time productively to study math and came up with some masterful mathematical equations, solving problems that people who were not in prison, in solitary confinement, haven't done. The genius, he took that time to think rather than be in despair. He took that time to be productive rather than just sit in solitary confinement and beat his head up against the wall. Yeah, they imprisoned him, but they didn't imprison his mind. You got a mind. Be ye not conformed to this world. Oh yes, don't allow your mind to be the victim of weapons of mass distractions. You got work to do. You're on a mission possible. This is your time. Get excited about it. Sit down. You know what I do in the morning? At first I said, all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. Next thing I say, Lord, whatever I face today, together, you and I can handle it. Next thing I do, I review the 7 things that I want to get out of the day. 7 things that I want to get out of the day. Most people just want to get through the day. See, if you don't have an agenda for your life, you're going to be a part of somebody else's agenda. Okay? And the next thing that's very, very important Make a commitment to learn something today that you didn't know yesterday. Make a commitment before you go to bed tonight that there's something new that you have learned. If you develop those habits, let me share something with you. The opportunities of creating joy, love, happiness, and excitement are unlimited.